Imagine you're in a room and a sudden, harsh sound, an insult, cuts through the quiet. There are two main ways people respond. They either flinch back from the noise, or they quickly make their own loud sound back. Here's the strange truth. If you react, you often lose. Not because their noise was so powerful, but because you just gave them control of the whole room's sound. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this hundreds of years ago, and most people still haven't learned it. He knew that an insult isn't just about anger or disrespect. It's a test, a quick poke, a quiet invitation to show your weakness, to see how easily you're pulled by what others say. The moment you flinch, the moment you rush to explain, defend, or make noise back, you're telling everyone watching, "That sound hit me. It worked. Those words hurt." The person who made the noise doesn't need to guess where your weak spots are anymore. You've just drawn a bright line to them. And worse, everyone else in the room hears it too. So what did Machiavelli do? He didn't say sorry. He didn't trade insults. He didn't waste energy on small arguments. He did something much colder, much more powerful. He used that insult, that harsh noise, to completely change who had power in the whole room. Because the real goal isn't to win that one little argument. The goal is to show you were never even playing their game of noise. And once people realize you're beyond their small argument, the insulter sounds weak, not you. If these truths about controlling the sound of power are starting to sharpen your voice, you're ready to become a master of the room. Hit that like button now. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into these essential strategies. Your support helps us share this crucial wisdom. Let's look at this deeper. An insult isn't just words. It's a move designed to make you respond in a certain way. Usually, it pushes you into one of three predictable responses. 1. You defend yourself, which tells the attacker their words have power. 2. You attack back, which shows you're emotionally caught up in their game. 3. You laugh along, which shows you'd rather fit in than stand up for yourself. All three responses give control to the attacker. They get what they want, proof that you're easy to provoke. But there's a fourth option, a Machiavellian option. It's colder, quieter, and far more effective. He didn't react. He changed the way the insult was seen. He understood a key rule. Whoever controls how people see a situation controls the whole story. And the moment you step into the emotional argument set by the insulter, you've already lost. You're no longer yourself. You're moving to their rhythm. Machiavelli refused to step inside. He stood above it. He let his silence become heavier than their words, his stillness more powerful than any strike back. He didn't answer the insult. He just made it disappear into thin air. Imagine this. Someone tries to embarrass him in public with a sharp word. He doesn't smirk. He doesn't look away nervously. He looks, calmly, intensely, as if to say, "I'm not bothered, I'm thinking." And that one look changes the whole room more than any smart comeback ever could. Because here's a truth few understand. No one truly fears the person who gets angry. People expect anger. It's simple, easy to guess. What truly scares people, what shakes up a whole room, is the person who takes an insult in silence. That kind of calm shows something powerful. This isn't his first time. He's heard this before, and he's already decided what happens next. That's true presence. That's real control. And that's why insults thrown at Machiavelli never landed. The attacker didn't get a laugh. They didn't get control. They got silence, followed later by consequences that were delivered indirectly, smartly, and very precisely. So how do you do this? Simple. Don't respond the way they expect. Don't rage when they expect rage. Don't laugh when they expect humiliation. Don't move at all. Let their noise echo in the quiet space you hold. And when you don't flinch, their power disappears. Not because you fought them, but because you made them face their own weakness. But Machiavelli didn't stop there. He understood silence is more than just not reacting. It's a way to gain power. When someone insults you publicly and you stay still, something strange happens. The feeling in the room starts to shift. Everyone waits for a clash, for sparks to fly. But when nothing happens, curiosity grows. People start asking themselves, why didn't he react? Does he know something we don't? Was that insult actually weak? Did the attacker just make himself look bad? And suddenly, the person who made the insult becomes the spectacle, not you. The crowd changes its mind. How they see things shifts. And you've changed the whole conversation without doing anything. Here's the psychological key. Insults only work if they touch something inside you that isn't settled. If someone calls you scared and you secretly believe it, you'll jump. If they call you weak and you fear it's true, you'll fight back. If they make fun of your past and you haven't made peace with it, you'll get upset. But if you've already faced those hidden fears, already learned from your mistakes, the insult just bounces off you. It hits nothing solid and goes right back to the person who threw it. That's the Machiavellian advantage. Self-awareness so deep that no insult can shake you, because no one can use what you've already dealt with. No one can bother a person who's already won their inner battles. Now, here's where it gets even smarter. Machiavelli didn't just stop insults, he sometimes made people insult him. Why? Because insults are like a special tool to find out what people are insecure about. He would set up situations that made people comfortable enough to speak carelessly, a sly comment, a vague remark, and suddenly a person with hidden worries takes the bait. They lash out with an insult. And in that moment, Machiavelli had them. Because now their true feelings were exposed, their weaknesses revealed, and the best part? They couldn't take it back. Everyone saw it. Their weakness was public. This is the trap so many walk into. They throw insults thinking it makes them look strong, when in reality, if the other person doesn't react, it makes them look fragile. So how do you take power from someone with more status? You let them insult you in front of others. And then you don't flinch. You look at them as if they've just made a small mistake. And then you calmly move on. No hitting back, no laughter, no denying. Just silence. And that silence will stick to them like a shadow, long after the talk ends. Because the audience remembers not what you said, but what you didn't say. The lack of your response speaks louder than any comeback ever could. That's how Machiavelli broke the power of insults. He didn't fight the attacker. He let the attacker expose themselves while he remained untouched. There's a reason Machiavelli didn't bother trying to clear his name or defend his reputation directly. Because the moment you feel the need to explain yourself, you've already lost control of how people see you. You've admitted without saying it that someone else controls your reputation, that you're arguing about who you are based on their words. That's why insults work so well against those who aren't ready. They trick you into fighting for something that wasn't even at risk until you made it so. Think about it. An insult is like a mirror, reflecting more about the person speaking than the person being insulted. But the trap is this. When you defend yourself, you unknowingly accept what they said. You make their words real by fighting against them. This is why Machiavelli refused to correct lies. He refused to say sorry. He refused to even make things clear. Instead, he made the accusation unimportant by treating it as if it deserved no attention at all. And here's the strange part. The less energy you give to an insult, the more the crowd starts to doubt the person who made the insult, not you. Silence creates an empty space, and people don't like empty spaces, so they quickly fill it with guesses. Maybe the insult was weak. Maybe it was petty. Maybe the attacker is just insecure. Your lack of response forces others to do the work of figuring out what really happened. And usually, they start to suspect the one who threw the insult. This is the big change. It's not about proving them wrong, not about arguing, but about refusing to step into their battle. And this cold refusal does something most people miss. It turns the insult back on the attacker. Everyone suddenly sees it not as a sign of your weakness, but as the attacker's desperate cry for attention. Because only someone truly hungry for validation wastes their energy on cheap shots. But Machiavelli went further. He understood insults were a way to gather vital information. When someone insults you, especially in public, they are unknowingly giving away 3 key pieces of information. 1. What they care about, because insults show what someone is obsessed with inside. 2. What they secretly wish they had. Nobody attacks what they don't notice or secretly want. 3. How they want others to see you, which means, by definition, they've already seen you as a threat. So when someone mocks your discipline, they're secretly at war with their own messy life. When they question your success, they're bothered by their own failures. When they call you arrogant, they've already compared themselves to you and lost. Most people hear insults and feel the pain. The Machiavellian listens for leverage. Every insult is like a breadcrumb, pointing directly to the insecurities of the one who launched it. And once you see that, you stop reacting emotionally. You start collecting intelligence. This changes the game entirely. You no longer view insults as attacks. You see them as unwilling confessions. Each jab tells you where your opponent is weak. Each mockery tells you what they secretly admire. Each attempt to shame you tells you they've already put you above them in their own mind. But what happens when an insult does land? Because let's be honest, sometimes it catches you off guard. Sometimes it's loud, public, and sharp enough to sting. Your body might show it for a split second. Your jaw tightens, your face flickers, your heart races. Everyone sees it. What now? Here's where most people panic. They rush to fix it, to explain, to make excuses, to fill the moment with words. Machiavelli would call that a huge mistake. His advice: don't try to hide that brief reaction. Don't try to fix it. Freeze the moment. You stare at the attacker, not with anger, not with fake humor, but with a blank, calm awareness, the same look you'd give to a barking dog. No smile, no explanation, no tension, just stillness. And then, nothing. What happens next is a psychological trick. The discomfort that was supposed to be yours starts to move to the attacker. The silence stretches. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. And people start thinking, why isn't he reacting? Why does he look so calm? Did the insult even work? Suddenly, the pressure is no longer on you, it's on them. That's the Machiavellian recovery. You don't try to erase the insult. You let it fall apart on its own. You don't win by force, you win by stillness. Everyone was expecting a big fight. You just canceled the show. And strangely, that's what makes you unforgettable. But sometimes, silence isn't enough. Sometimes a response is needed, not to defend yourself, but to quickly end the exchange. Machiavelli's formula for a response was simple: short, sharp, undeniable. One sentence. No long explanations, no arguments. It should feel like a judge's hammer hitting the table, not a plea for understanding. For example, they call you fake. You say you'd know. They call you arrogant. You say you mistake confidence for noise. They mock your past. You say, it built me. I waste nothing. Then you stop. You let the silence echo. The crowd thinks about it. The attacker is left chasing the shadow of your words, trying to get back control you never gave up. This isn't a clever comeback. It's a surgical cut. And cuts are far more dangerous than big clashes, because clashes invite more fighting, more chaos, more noise. Cuts end the exchange completely. They create a silence so heavy that everyone remembers it, not because of what was said, but because of what followed. Nothing. This is how Machiavelli approached insults, not as battles, but as chances for strategic positioning. The goal wasn't to appear right, it was to appear untouched, untouchable. The person who cannot be insulted builds a fortress of reputation not through winning arguments, but through making them unimportant. People stop throwing stones, not because they've grown kinder, but because they realize the stones never land. And here lies the psychological shift. Most people chase the feeling of being right. Machiavelli pursued something deeper. He wanted to be unreadable, unreachable, because an unreadable person is dangerous. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know when they'll act. And the silence itself becomes a weapon. There's a deeper layer to all this. Something darker than silence, sharper than a single cutting phrase. Machiavelli knew that insults weren't just interruptions in the game of power. They were the game. They weren't small problems to be managed. They were signals to be harnessed. Let's look at the long game. Most people think an insult ends once the room quiets down. They move on, emotionally relieved it's over. But Machiavelli treated every insult like evidence, a signal that someone, somewhere, had just declared themselves an enemy. Their tone, their timing, the way their eyes shifted when they said it, all of it became data. And he didn't respond in the moment. He waited. He stored it away. And when the moment came, on his terms, not theirs, he acted. Sometimes that action was subtle, a whispered doubt to an ally. Has he always been like that? I didn't expect that from him. Sometimes it was nothing at all, simply letting the attacker's credibility decay in silence while the memory of their outburst lingered. Either way, the insult was never forgotten. It was cataloged, weaponized, and then deployed when the timing was perfect. This is why Machiavelli never truly lost an exchange. He didn't treat insults as battles to win. He treated them as intelligence to exploit. But let's explore another dimension, the tactic of strategic ownership. This is the coldest reversal of all. When someone throws an insult, they expect resistance. They expect denial. What they don't expect is for you to own it, to reframe it not as a weakness but as a strength. They call you ruthless. You say, I prefer to be precise. They call you manipulative. You say people confuse discipline with control. They mock your past. You say, it built me, I waste nothing. What happens here is powerful. You've turned the insult into fuel. You've denied the attacker the very resistance they needed to feel powerful. Instead, you've made the insult part of your story. The attack becomes a foundation. The thing meant to shame you becomes the reason you're respected. And the crowd begins to whisper, if he doesn't deny it, maybe it's true. And maybe that's why he's strong. This is the Machiavellian reversal, where insult becomes legend, attack becomes narrative, shame becomes power. And it scares people, because they realize nothing can be used against you. This is the real secret. The person who doesn't react doesn't just win the moment, he shifts the entire room. Watch carefully the next time someone insults in public. The room holds its breath. The audience prepares for impact. But if you don't react, if you hold silence, stillness, the energy reorganizes around you. People begin doubting the attacker. They start questioning the motive. They figure out who really has power in real time. And without saying a word, you've absorbed the entire battlefield. Psychologically, here's what's happening. Insults are built on expectation. They rely on guessing what you'll do. The attacker imagines you'll flinch, stumble, defend yourself. That's the script in their mind. But when you don't, when you break the script, the weapon fails. Suddenly they're standing exposed, holding an insult that went nowhere. And now they are the one who looks emotional, insecure, desperate. This is what Machiavelli perfected. The art of becoming unreadable. Because when a person can't be provoked, they become dangerous. When they don't defend themselves, they become mysterious. And mysterious people are feared. But let's push it even further, into the realm of the subtle counter-insult. This isn't about yelling words back. It's about using subtle hints, phrases so calm they sound like observations rather than attacks. They don't hurt in the moment. They echo in the mind. For example, you always talk the loudest when you're unsure, or, interesting. I wouldn't have revealed that about myself so quickly. You must have needed to say that. Notice what these do. They don't defend, they don't make things worse. They redirect attention back to the attacker, forcing everyone to reconsider what they just saw. That's not fighting back. That's social surgery. With fewer than 10 words, you've put them in a corner. If they argue more, they look unstable. If they retreat, they look weak. Either way, you've trapped them in their own game. This is Machiavellian precision. No wasted words, no wasted movement. Control through doing the least. And finally, the heart of it all. Insults are never about truth. They're about control. They are probes, tests, attempts to drag you into a story where you are weak, and they are strong. The second you react, you're trapped inside their story. But the second you refuse, the second you let silence, stillness, or surgical words define the moment, you flip the story entirely. The insult no longer exposes you, it exposes them. It reveals their envy, their insecurity, their fragility, and everyone watching sees it. The insult meant to hurt your presence becomes proof of their power collapsing. That is the Machiavellian mastery of insults. Not fighting them, not trying to dominate, but making the whole game disappear. To remain untouchable, not because you win the fight, but because you never step into it. And when you master this, something strange begins to happen. People stop insulting you, not because they've grown kinder, but because they've grown afraid. They don't know what you'll do. They don't know if their words will hit them back. They don't know if your silence will make them look small. They don't know if you'll reframe their attack into your own legend. And so they hesitate. That's the fortress you're building. Not one made of defense, but of unreadability. Not one of clever comebacks, but of stillness. Not one of victory, but of making the attack irrelevant. Because in the end, Machiavelli's aim was never to appear right. It was to appear untouchable. And when people realize no insult works on you, they stop playing the game altogether. They stop throwing stones, not out of mercy, but out of fear. And that, more than any comeback, is how you truly dismantle an insult. Machiavelli's lesson lasts forever. Master yourself, control your reactions, and turn every challenge into a strategic move. For those who cannot command their own ship are commanded by the world's storms. If you found this valuable, the next step is simple. Continue learning how to truly command. Hit the like button if this journey has given you a clearer map for building your city. Your support helps us share these vital lessons. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Leave a comment below. Which of these rules for the Master Navigator will you apply first in your own journey? And what's one strategic move you'll make today? Your honest reflections are key to your journey. Keep sailing strong, keep planning, and never stop commanding your destiny. I'll see you in the next video.